Hello, my dear students, and welcome back once again. Hope you all are doing well and fine at your home. So, today we are going to start our second term syllabus. Okay, so with that, we are going to start with the geography part and chapter number 7. So, what is the name of the chapter? Human environment, settlement, transport, and communication. Yes, it is the easiest one chapter. You are homely with this chapter and definitely you had done in your last classes as well. Okay, so see carefully, look carefully. It is the easiest one chapter. So let's start with the smart content. What is the name of the chapter? Human environment, in which we are going to study about the settlements and the transport and the communication. So what is a settlement? First of all, settlement क्या होती है? As we people live and build our homes, so this is settlement is a place where people live and build their homes. That is called a settlement. And as we people are living in some people are living in urban areas, some are in rural areas, some have their temporary settlements and some have their permanent settlements. So today we are going to see all these, that what are the settlements, what is transport, what is communication, and the relation with the human. Okay, so let's start.
The human settlement, transport and communication. The meaning of living in a society is to cooperate with fellow human beings so as to fulfill their needs as well as to help others fulfilling their needs. Human beings live with others by forming a cluster of habitation. A cluster of houses where human beings live is called a settlement.
So understood what is a settlement? Everyone keep open your books as well, and here page number 47. So what is a settlement? When people live with each other, that means they in their surroundings, when they build house and help with each other, so that particular place is known as settlement. Okay.
Settlements may belong to villages, rural, or towns and cities, urban. A modern settlement comprises buildings, means of transport and communication, and inhabitants of the settlement. Origin of settlement.
So here we are going to study that what is meaning by origin of settlements. As we all know that our ancestors, where they used to live, where the people live in caves, right? Our ancestors, they were not having any permanent settlements and they supposed to move from one place to another, maybe in search of their food or something else. Okay, so that is what we are going to study, that where our ancestors lived and what is our settlements today.
Ancestors of modern men were nomads, and they lived in caves. These dwellings were the first human settlements. They were not continuously inhabited, as men had to move from place to place in search of food. Men started settled life when they learned to grow crops. The importance of leading a settled life increased as trade and commerce grew. Thus, the first towns came into existence. Along with it, different types of buildings like schools, temples, mosques, town halls, hospitals, etc. were built. Today, we have well-planned cities with multi-storied buildings, broad roads, well-planned sewage system, and sanitation, and
Right, so the people, see, half of our class students also, if I'll give example, some of us, we belong from the urban settlements and some from the rural settlements. Definitely there are some advantages and disadvantages for the both. Which are these? Can anybody tell? What are the advantages of living in urban areas and what are the disadvantages in both urban and rural? Just think and do let me know. Okay, so in this chapter basically we are going to study about our urban and rural settlements, our temporary settlements and our permanent settlements. Okay, so just go through the video once, then definitely I'm going to clear each and everything.
facilities. Every settlement needs a source of water. This is why the earliest cities of our ancient civilizations grew on the banks of river valleys.
So what is the basic reason that all the like old settlements, they are basically near the areas of river. Why? Because they could get well water, right? And also with water only agriculture was possible during that time, and people started making their permanent settlements where they got water and the facilities to grow crops. Okay, then only it was in a tradition to stay and to stuck with the permanent settlement.
Where water was available in plenty, fertile soil and moderate climate encourage agriculture and other economic activities. Such conditions are found in plains. They also have flat lands which favors the development of transport and communication and encourages trade. The transport junctions are good sites for settlement. People settle at those places where they can easily earn their living.
Right? See, where transport facilities will be good, definitely people can do good businesses, good trade, and they can export, import the things, right? So people started living in the areas where transport was very much easy and possible. As suppose if I'll take example of plain areas or of hilly areas, which one you feel comfortable to live? Plain areas. Why? Because definitely transport is very much possible and very much easy in the areas where the areas are plain rather than mountainous areas, है ना. Mountains में क्या होता है, it is too much tough to go on those peaks, है ना. कोई भी बड़ी गाड़ी लेके जाना, it is not easy at all. So people started their settlements in the areas where transport was possible, fine, during that time as well. And also you can see ki where the areas where it is the soil is fertile, water facilities are available, right? If I take example of desert areas, can you see कि desert area कोई भी इतना ज़्यादा trade में grow नहीं कर पाता है. Why? Because water is not available there. Transport facility, that is also tough because of the sand of desert. So this is the example. If rather than take, if we'll take example of any plain area, है ना, वहाँ पे क्या है, if I'll take example of Delhi, है ना, तो वहाँ पे क्या है, ट्रेड इज easily available because of water facilities and the transport facility. Okay.
Therefore, settlements come up near industrial areas and mines. Sometimes tourist places and places of historical importance also attract settlements. The designs of houses and the materials from which they are built depend on the natural conditions at the site. For example, at the areas prone to floods, the houses are built on raised platforms. The areas where it rains or snows a lot, the houses may have slanting roofs that allows rain or snow to slide off.
Right? The houses of a particular settlement or of a particular place depends upon the weather and climatic condition of that particular area, right? As you can see, where there is so much ice, the roofs will be slanting, because जो slanting roofs होते हैं उससे क्या होता है, rain का पानी easily drain हो जाता है and ice also get melts and rain easily, right? And rather than that, if we'll take example of the areas where we usually face floods, तो वहाँ पे क्या होता है, जो थोड़ा like table land पे, the people used to build their houses on the table land, right, or on the high area, fine.
In hilly areas, the houses are built of stone.
So hope you have understood well that what is a settlement. So here in this topic we are going to discuss about the different types of settlements. As you can see on this page that settlements can be permanent or temporary, as we have already discussed. But once again I am going to tell you that what is a temporary settlement, where people live for a short period of time. That means nomads. Nomads, who are the nomads? The people who used to move from one place to another in search of food or shelter or their jobs. That those are known as nomads. So that type of settlement is known as the temporary settlements. Fine. See, the people living in the deforest, hot and cold deserts and the mountains often dwell in such temporary settlements. Fine. So now we are going to see that what is a permanent settlement. Permanent settlement क्या होती है? Where people used to practice for their crops and they started settling their house on the same place, है ना. because during our ancestors, they were not aware well that what is the benefit of growing crop, how they can grow good crops, right? But nowadays, probably 90% cases, in 90% cases we can find only permanent settlements, okay, where people used to live according to their comfort zone and also according to wherever they get their trade, their agriculture or their work, fine, and they used to settle their homes on that particular place. That is known as the permanent settlement, fine. Here you can see it's a related story with the urban and rural settlements, fine. So see, on this page, it's a very interesting and very small story that it was Mary's birthday party. She and her friends were waiting for Gurpreet to arrive so that Mary could cut the cake. So whose birthday? It is Mary's birthday, and she is waiting for one more friend, Gurpreet, because she wanted to cut the cake, and she was just waiting for Gurpreet and for her arrival. So at last Gurpreet arrives. इनमें क्या हुआ? गुरप्रीत पहुंच गए, and tired, coughing and wheezing, she explained that the traffic jam was terrible. She explained to Mary that why I am late, that in your city there was huge traffic and I was stuck into that traffic jam. Then Mary's mother, Mrs. Thomas, patted Gurpreet's back and sighed. जब किसी को कफ होता है तो हम ऐसा करते हैं ना, बैक को थोड़ा सा पैट करते हैं, है ना, राइट? सो शी says, oh, what she said, उसकी मदर ने बोला कि oh my god, in our cities it's huge population, and also definitely with the population what will happen with the population? Traffic jam, as we are also facing nowadays in our cities as well, right? So Prasad had recently come from the village. He asked, why do we have such traffic jams and such pollution in the cities? The number of vehicles is increasing day by day due to that growing population in the cities. As I've already told you कि मैरी की मदर ने explain किया प्रसाद को, because प्रसाद थोड़ी देर पहले कहाँ से आया था? गांव से आया था. So she said, Mr. Thomas reply, Mary के father ने reply किया, because population is growing. Why? What is the reason behind growing population? Because the people of village also started settling up in the cities. Why? What is the reason behind that? It's maybe their job, it's maybe their because of lack of facilities in the villages, right? But simultaneously there are some benefits as well. People get fresh air, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits in the villages, है ना? They have lot of space to breathe out in a fresh air, but instead of the cities, can we breathe in an open area like into cities? We will just inhaling what? That population, smoke, right? Because we have, you can see in your streets also, है ना, हर एक गली में, हर एक घर में क्या होता है कि 2, 3, 4 vehicles होते हैं. तो this is the main reason of population. So Prasad said our villages may not have big cinema halls, well-equipped schools and good hospitals, but we have lot of open spaces and fresh air to breathe in. So he said, who said? Prasad said कि when, yes, this is the problem, that when my grandmother was sick, we had to rush him to the city hospital, because क्या होता है कि in the villages we get very less facilities, है ना. Suddenly कुछ emergency आ जाए तो हमें क्या है, city की ओर भागना होता है ना. So we have both like rural settlements और जो urban settlements के क्या होते हैं, advantages and disadvantages both. So with that I am going to show you the smart content for the urban and rural settlements.
And urban settlements. On the basis of type of occupation practiced by its inhabitants, the settlements may be rural or urban. In rural settlements, most of the people are engaged in primary occupation like agriculture, mining, fishery and forestry.
Right? So these are the occupations related to the rural areas. The people, they support and they probably do these kinds of occupations.
The products are derived directly from nature. Villages are the examples of rural settlement. In urban settlements, people are engaged in secondary and tertiary occupation. They either work in industries or they provide services like health and education. Towns and cities are examples of urban settlements.
So the occupations which get support in the villages, that is the rural areas, those are known as the primary, and the works which are done into the towns and cities in the urban areas, those are known as the secondary occupations. Okay.
Temporary and permanent settlements.
This we have already done. I have shown you as well. Once more you can see clearly that what is a temporary settlement and what is a permanent settlement.
Depending on the length of time for which they are in use, a settlement may be temporary or permanent. Temporary settlements are those that are occupied for a shorter period of time. Tribes living in deserts, tropical rainforests, and other inhospitable environments build temporary settlements. However, most of the settlements that we see today are permanent settlements. They are not abandoned and remain in use continuously for several
So
years.
beta, this was temporary and permanent settlements. Okay. So now,
Compact and dispersed settlements. The settlement where all the houses are built side by side, leaving narrow lanes and by-lanes, are called compact settlements. These are the collective amenities.
what is compact? Basically you should understand the meaning of compact. क्या होता है? Tight. So compact settlements is where people used to build their houses side by side. एक दूसरे के बिल्कुल पास पास जो houses होते हैं, that comes under the compact settlement.
To serve the people like schools, places of worship, hospitals and markets, etc. Dispersed settlements serve few families and houses are scattered in isolated places. Life is simple and quiet as there is little opportunity for social gathering.
Right, as we people live in the like cities, we have compact kind of settlement, and what is the dispersed kind of settlement where people used to build their houses in the like far away places. It's maybe like एक घर यहाँ पे है और एक घर फिर ऊपर है फिर दूर है. So that is possible only in the mountainy areas or the hilly areas. Okay, dispersed settlement.
These types of settlements are found on highlands or farmlands.
So beta, this was all about our settlements. So we read and also did in that chapter, in that video, what the permanent settlements and temporary settlements, and the urban settlements and the rural settlements. This was all about this settlements. Now we are going to do our next topic, and that is transport. Yes, it is the very much easy, right, as you are doing it, I think, from your class 1, transport communication, right? So what is transport by which we can go from one place to another? It's maybe your car, it's maybe your scooty, right? It's maybe airways, it's maybe a train. So these all are called the transports. Okay, and definitely it made our life very much easier. If suppose we want to go from here to Delhi, so how much hours? Hardly it will take 3 hours, right? So in the earliest time it was too tough, even from one place to another. If we supposed to go 30 kilometers, it will take a lot of time if we will go by foot or by any animal. So in the old times, you know well कि old time में, in our ancestors time, they people used to go by their own only, है ना, by walking or by taking help of any animal. It's maybe any camel, it's maybe any horse, right? So invention of wheel, that was the biggest invention. So with the invention of wheel, because now you can see in your cycles, in your scooters, in your cars, in aeroplanes, everywhere we people use that wheel, right? So with the invention of wheel, it was possible to go from one place to another in less hours, in less minutes, right? Depends upon the distance of that particular place. So in the earliest time, donkeys, mules, bullocks and camels, they were common, right? But now in some areas, if desert area, it's not possible to go by your car, right? Like if we want to go into that deep sand, है ना, sometimes it happens we want to go for just enjoy. So list the different modes of transport used by the student of your class while coming to school. कुछ लोग अपने मम्मा पापा के साथ आते हैं by the car, है ना, parents come to drop to your friends, and some of them they use that van and the transport, है ना, provided by our school only. So these are the common transport facilities we people use nowadays. So let's see roadways. It also includes in the transport system. What are the roadways? Roadways, the ways of road, right? So as if we have to go by bus, by car, the ways which we use, है ना, so that is called the roadways, है ना. So these can be metalled as well and unmetalled. Metalled होते हैं पक्का roads and unmetalled are known as the कच्चा road. As you can see in this picture, metalled road, you can see these are the pakka roads, and the unmetalled, these are the kacha road as well. So Manali Leh highway in the Himalaya mountain is one of the highest roadways in the world. So which is the highest roadways in the world? Manali Leh highway. Fine. And roads built underground are called subway or the underpass. जो underground road होते हैं उसको बोलते हैं subway or the underpass. And you have seen so many flyovers nowadays तो है ना, if you are going from SIRSA to Hisar, even from SIRSA to Fatehbad or any of the way, so we can see easily the flyovers, and also it is there in our city. So next it is railways. What are the railways? The track on which the rail runs, that is called the railways, है ना, जिस way से rails जाती हैं, that is known as the railways. So in the places super fast trains have been introduced, है ना, bullet trains are also introduced, है ना, super trains are also introduced, and metro trains, that is also a facility of railway, है ना, so that is also available there. So Indian railway network is well developed and it is the largest in India. So go through this, it is very easy. So next is waterways. What are the waterways? The ways of water by which people used to go for their trade and just to enjoy. So the areas and the ways by which we can see through the water, it's maybe by our by boat, by ships. So these are called the waterways. As waterways are the cheapest for carrying heavy and bulky goods over long distances, है ना, from one country to another. People, if they have to export or import any heavy and bulky goods, है ना, that's maybe oil, petroleum, any iron things, right? So that comes by only ship. Okay. So there are mainly two types, that inland waterways and the sea routes. Fine. So it's the navigable rivers and lakes are used, and inland waterways, and some of the important inland waterways are कौन से हैं इसमें बताया गया है. The Ganga Brahmaputra river system, the Great Lakes in North America, and the river Nile in Africa. Fine. So sea routes by the oceanic routes, oceans में से जो routes बने होते हैं specially related to the trades, that is known as the sea routes. So you can see these routes are connected with the ports. Ports क्या होती हैं? Where the ship stands, right? They are connected with the ports. Some of the important ports of the world are Singapore and Mumbai in Asia, New York, Los Angeles and North America, Rio de Janeiro in South America, and Durban and Cape Town in Africa, Sydney in Australia, London and Rotterdam in Europe. So these are the some important port towns. Next is airways. What are the airways? By which people go use that way of air. ऐसे हवा में उठ के नहीं जाना. Airways means planes, है ना? They may have their private helicopters, and also we people used to go by, if we have to go to another country and for a tour, है ना, to another country. So definitely we use airways. So in that case we cannot go by our car. So definitely it takes so many days, right? So airways, this is the fastest but the costliest way. So it is the costliest and the waterway is the cheapest one. Cheapest means बहुत सस्ता. So airways, this is the fastest way of transport developed in the early 20th century. It is also most expensive due to high cost of fuels, right? So it is the only mode transport to reach the most remote and distant areas, especially where there are no roads and railways. Fine. So next we are going to ask communication. what is communication? Communication क्या होता है, सबको पता है ना? Communication by which we use to convey our messages to another and can take their views and reviews and their messages, right? So communication can be of different like it's maybe through internet, it's maybe via speaking, talking to someone, right? So communication में क्या कुछ आता है आजकल? We have WhatsApp, we have simple messages, we have mails, right? So these also are the sources of communication. So communication is the process of conveying messages to each other. So definitely mass media is the biggest mode of communication nowadays. कहीं पे कुछ something is happening wrong है ना, or something we want to spread or just to raise awareness about any particular thing. So there we can use these kind of communication ways, the mass media, right? So बच्चे this was what about our chapter. So your homework is just try to do this exercise. Question answers also you can find very easy. Tick the correct answer and the match the following. So hope you understood the chapter well. If there is any problem, let me know in our tomorrow's class. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice day everyone.